Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Mega Garchomp, which just got released into the game for, of course, the raid day, which is going to happen for most people tomorrow, for me as well, but of course you can remote raid them, and this is exactly what we did here. So, thanks everybody as well who were battling me. I was asking, of course, on Twitter for some battles, because you currently cannot use the Mega Pokemon in the Master League. But yeah, still we're going to have some very exciting battles here. I'm very hyped for them, even though it's 3 AM in the morning. Definitely because I'm so hyped here for the Mega Garchomp and not because I had 3 coffees. But let's take a look here what the opponent is going to run. They're going to run the Mega Gengar. This Pokemon is going to be fine for us because we're going to have Mudshot on this Pokemon, but they had still the kind of bug here, which I'm just going to take because like we're just going to knock out the first opponent. It's going to be fine. This is still basically the same thing that's happening right now. If you're going to have your Go++ or any kind of catch device, if you spin a stop, your game going to freeze while any kind of Go Battle League battle or like friendly battle. So we're just going to take this first game and we can move on to the next one. Let's take a look what the next opponent going to run here. We're going to encounter Giratina in the lead. Of course, I said as well that everybody can use their Mega Pokemon or Primal Pokemon if they want to, but not everybody has to do this, and I think this opponent didn't do it, but I'm not sure. Maybe they did. We will find out shortly. They're going to run the Xerneas here. Going to be an interesting Pokemon for us. We can align our Mewtwo, which of course is going to be a Shundo here as well, and we can go for the Side Strike to do some decent damage against the opponent, but we're still going to need another one there. But the opponent going to use a shield, and as you're going to see here, I'm lagging, and this was my fault. I was in the call at the same time with my girlfriend, and I also wasn't able to hear her, so I know this was my internet just dying off completely. I think it was just 1 AM or something where it just happens. But, well, like, is it? I think it was 2 AM where it happened. I honestly don't know. Honestly, it's 3 AM in the morning. I don't know what's happening here anymore. But we're going to be able to go for the full farm run against the opponents. Xerneas is here to knock them out, as well as we can just go for a charge move against the Giratina. The Outrage is coming through, gonna get the knockout here as well, and in comes a Shadow Excadrill, while our Garchomp is just going for a sweep here. Gonna get another shield from the opponent, and now we can still try to reach the Earth Power in time, which we can do, and the opponent's Excadrill is gonna go down here, and what a sweep from Garchomp. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter Mega Rayquaza, so another basically Mega Evolved Dragon-type Pokemon here. And also, honestly, do you see the CP of Garchomp? 6,119 for my 15-14-15 variant is really good. Like, honestly, like, that's high CP for a Mega Pokemon in general. It's just a little bit of a shame that both typings are already covered by, like, Primal Pokemon, basically, with the Mega Rayquaza, which is not Primal, but Primal Groudon as well, which are just better Pokemon. But still, a very cool Pokemon to use, a very cool Pokemon to have, as we can see here, the Side Strike coming through against the Rayquaza, and they're going to decide to swap out into their Groudon, allowing me to still reach another Side Strike here, and now I can align my Pokemon perfectly. I can go into my Mega Garchomp in order to basically survive any kind of charge move. We are also very bulky with this Pokemon, so this Precious Blade is not going to do as much as, of course, it's still going to do a ton of damage because it's level 50 Groudon here going forward. But we can still even reach the Outrage, and our Mega Garchomp is going to town and gonna get the knockout even against the Rayquaza. Moving on, let's take a look at what the next opponent is going to bring to the table here. We're going to encounter a shiny Mega Rayquaza, honestly. Look at the color theme on it, it just looks so great, doesn't it? It is wild. You're going to be able to go for an Earth Power against the opponent's Mewtwo, and we should be kind of fine here because the opponent still has to go for 2 charge moves against me. I do use a shield here just in case they're running Ice Beam, which I could have seen there. But I should still be able to survive easily the Side Strike, which I'm going to take. But they are never going to be able to survive an Earth Power from my Mega Garchomp here, as this is going to do a ton of damage if it's going to connect, but they decide to use a shield here. I was going for the CMP tie, and now I'm gonna not go for the CMP tie because I wasn't completely sure about if I have enough there. You see me going for the Dragon type move, just in case I wanted to catch the Ground type move on their Dragon Flying type Pokemon Rayquaza, but they're actually running Air Slash, which is most likely something that they use currently for raids for the Broguiere. But it's actually worse for me because now they're gonna get to the moves way faster, which is here in the case for Dragon Ascent definitely not ideal for me. But now at least I can go for a Side Strike against the opponent's Xerneas. I think there was a CMP tie, which I didn't even want to have happen there. But as we're going to see, this is not going to knock me out, but I have to overfarm by quite a bit, because Air Slash from the Rayquaza is going to do a ton of damage, while the Fast Move from the Xerneas basically does no damage at all, so I was able to just get enough energy to barely get to the charge move here, and this Size Strike is gonna not get the knockout, but 2 more Force Moves is gonna get the knockout against the Mega Rayquaza. Moving on, we're going to of course encounter also some primal Pokemon here, like the Primal Kyogre. One of the most scariest Pokemon of them all, but the opponent decides to swap out into their Zekrom against my Mewtwo, allowing me to definitely get a guaranteed shield advantage here, which I'm definitely gonna take. Anyway, let's take a look at this. We're gonna get the shield advantage here, and I might even want to use a shield against the opponent as well, but no, I decided to let this move go through. I can farm them down with my Togekiss, and I should have waited out the clock here a little bit, so I would be able to like swap out a little bit easier, but let's see what the opponent gonna go into. They're gonna go into a Ho-Oh, and I decided to go straight for my Ancient Power, which was a little bit of a not so smart idea. Could have went for 1 extra fast move here, and I don't even do enough damage to like knock them out or even come close to that, because Ancient Power I think is, yeah, it's just not really a good move, to be fair. That's most likely why. But we can at least go ahead and go into our Mega Garchomp, and still going to be a close match up here. We're gonna shield up the Brave Bird, as we will see the Primal Kyogre coming back in. I have to take a move, so I'm gonna take the first one. It's going to be the Surf, and as you can see here, we can go for the Earth Power now. Can we outspeed the opponent to the charge moves? This does around the same amount as a Surf does, which is not really showing how, like, it's honestly like wild, how the difference between those Primal Pokemon is compared to like Megas, but this is going to be a good game there, so let's move on to the next one. We're going to encounter a fairly decent Need Force. It's kind of neutral, it's honestly not even that nice. While yes, we're going to be able to resist Mudshot, they're also going to be able to 2-shot me with a Hydro Cannon, so that's not really ideal, so I decided to swap out into my Mewtwo, and honestly, look at the CP there. The Mewtwo is actually nearly able to tie with a CP of a Mega Pokemon, which is just so wild. So here we're going to still use a shield just in case it would have been an Earthquake, which it isn't, and we can go ahead and go for a charge move against the opponent's Kyurem here next, which is going to shield this move up, which is kind of fine for me. And I honestly should most likely... Okay, let this move go through. That's fine as well, as I can go for another charge move there. This is going to do a ton of damage if it would land, but it doesn't land. I should have most likely swapped out here. This would have been a great play by me if I would have just swapped into my Togekiss, but I didn't. So, like this, I can use a shield here. They can go for another Glaciate, and I can swap out most likely later on into my Garchomp. But here we will see that it's still going to be a little bit of a difficult one. I can try to go for a charge move there, but they can still reach a charge move themselves. Going to be the Fusion Flare and doing some decent damage against me. So I should have let the opponent get more farm against me first, because like this, they can perfectly farm me down before I can go for the charge move there, and they have enough energy to barely get to the Glaciate. I could have played this better and win this game, but still well played by the opponent. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to encounter one of the worst possible leads here for us. It's going to be the Solgaleo, as we're going to now see the Dialga swapping in. I can go for the Shadow Ball against the opponent. I just want to get some damage onto them, but they actually decide to use a shield, which I was like, that's kind of interesting, because yeah, like it could have of course been the Focus Blast, but like it's pretty rare to see Focus Blast nowadays. But I can still go for a charge move here. This is gonna still get them low. I decided to use a shield because I kinda want to go shields down, because then I should be able to later on one-shot the opponent's Solgaleo. But as you can see here, this plan kind of works out well. You see me also going into my Togekiss and not using a shield here, because I'm just kind of relying on my Garchomp at this point of time. And luckily, they are not running any kind of Fairy-type Pokemon in the back. So this will allow me to use a shield against the opponent as well. Going to be the Awkward Tail. I can go for the Earth Power, and I'm mostly going to need 2 of them. And they're getting very fast to those Awkward Tails as well. So I have to be a little bit careful, but I will be able to still reach another charge move in time, which is gonna get the knockout here. And I'm just going to stay in as well. As the opponent decides to go into the Solgaleo, I can let this move go through, and I'm most likely going to have to swap out afterwards though. So let's take a look at this. You're going to see the swap out into the Dialga, so I swap out into my Togekiss. I have a move stored already on my Garchomp, but is this enough to knock out the opponent? Solgaleo is a very bulky Pokemon, honestly one of the strongest Pokemon in the current Master League meta game, but here we will see the big Earth Power coming through and gonna get the knockout there. Good game to the opponent. Let's move on, next game. We're going to have the Dialga in the lead. This is looking like a fairly decent lead for us as well. We can play this out in the zero shield scenario if we want to. And I kind of want to, because, I don't know, why not? We're going to be able to get rid of one of the Dragon Breath users for our Pokemon in the back, which I kind of appreciate. So we're just going to go for the Aura Sphere, and either we're going to get the swap or we are going to get the shield advantage. I'm going to take the shield advantage here. As you're going to get them low, I can swap into my Mega Garchomp, which will allow me to get a ton of energy. And this energy can come in clutch later on. As you can see here, we're going to actually get nearly up to a charge move, which is really nice. And they're going to have also a Mega Gyarados in the back. Mega Gyarados is basically the best cheap Mega Pokemon for the Mega Master League if this format ever comes back. If you didn't know, this format currently is not coming back anytime soon, most likely, because they are not able to fix a bug as far as I know, where you can actually enter those battles with several different Mega Pokemon, which is absolutely wild. Like, I already made a video about it like a few months ago, like mostly like half a year ago at this point. But here, sadly, we were not going to be able to win this game because the opponent is going to still have their Mewtwo in the back, and the opponent was just a little bit better at outspeeding my Garchomp. So let's take a look now at the upcoming battle, as this Side Striker is going to knock me out. Good game there to the opponent though. Let's take a look at the next opponent. Let's see what they're going to run here. It's going to be the Metagross. And honestly, this game was absolutely wild because not really the best matchup for me, not really hard-walled either, but it's definitely a matchup that they can kind of dictate if they want to. They can just go ahead and use a shield whenever they want to do that, and basically I have no real chance here. I should have most likely shielded this move up though, because it would have allowed me to either get 2 shields advantage, or like, no, not 1 shield, like 1 shield advantage. I would have got 2 shields from the opponent, that's what I mean, or I would have been able to realign my Pokemon, which would have been even better for me. But like this, I am in a pretty bad spot. I have a 1 shield advantage at least as well, but the opponent still has a Mega Salamence in the back, which has Dragon Tear. So basically, if I used a shield, I would have most likely got both shields from the opponent, and then I could have just went for 2 nuke moves to knock out the opponent's 2 Pokemon. But like this, the Dragon Tail damage is just coming in and going to do a little bit too much damage. And also, I'm not running Flamethrower. I'm running Aura Sphere, which is of course the Community Day move. And the issue with this is that I don't have a super effective move anymore against the opponent's Metagross. So sadly, this is not going to do enough damage, but to be fair, Flamethrower would have not done enough damage anyways. So good game to the opponent, very hard countered, but let's move on to the final battle of today's video. Let's see what the opponent is going to run here. We're going to encounter another Xerneas in the lead, allowing us to do some decent damage with our Charm already, and I kind of want to just get them into a range where 1 Side Strike is all it takes to knock them out, so I'm going to let this first move go through and swap out immediately into my Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to be able to outspeed the opponent here with the Side Strike coming in. This is going to be very nice for me, as this is going to get the shield from the opponent as well as I can get some extra energy here, and they're going to give me an entire free fast move with my Mewtwo, getting me some decent energy. And this energy I'm going to use against the opponent's Ho-Oh here, as I will be able to just go for 1 Side Strike there, and I can even go for another Side Strike afterwards, and I should have most likely went for the CMP tie, which I didn't. And as you're going to see here, this actually impacts this match up quite a bit, because I needed 1 more Psycho Cut to knock them out, and so I don't have that one, and so it's a little bit awkward. I still get 1 fast move energy advantage on my Mega Garchomp, but the opponent decides to swap out into their Xerneas, making this a little bit of an awkward one for me, as I can shield up the opponent's Moonblast, as I will get to the Earth Power to try and knock them out. That's going to be a close one. The opponent going to decide to use a shield, and I try to reach my move in time, and I will be able to do exactly that to knock out the opponent's Xerneas. And let's see what they're going to run in the back. It's going to be the Primal Kyogre. This is going to be a very tough one for me. I have to try to catch a move here, or I have to hope that my Togekiss with the extra energy that I have stored is enough to knock them out. Let's see if this is going to be fine for us. We're going to try to go here and go for the Ancient Power, try to reach the Aura Sphere. I'm not going to get there in time. Is Ancient Power enough to knock them out? It is not. We're gonna get the boost, and they forgot to tap, but it is still not enough. And this is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this review of the Mega Garchomp, then feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the video on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.